Padmore, consider as well the insights of Du Bois, Padmore, and Garvey in the evolving global village with its increasingly unified economies, the shared history and global realities of Africa and her diaspora in shaping a healthy global Pan-Africanism. It will be continually more difficult for the diaspora to be actively engaged in African affairs without leadership and direction from the African nations. You can't just go there and tell people what to do. The success of such exchanges will, of course, depend on how well we know, understand, and respect our deep commonalities, our rich differences, and our troubling contradictions. And we are yet to really get to that and grapple with it. To accomplish this, African scholars, institutions, and students will need to incorporate diaspora studies, Pan-African studies, comparative Africana studies into their own curricula and research agendas. We will need the subjects or institutes for diaspora studies on the continent itself. If we are to execute a formidable Pan-African agenda in the future, we must challenge our history, examine our own complexity and our failures, as well as our successes, and institutionalize those successes. We must continually celebrate our collective and vast achievements, from the beautiful and purposefulness of the Ashanti gold weights to the traffic light, to the marketplace, to the university, and wherever we live, work, or play. In other words, we can't do this in one place and think it's done. You know, you can't have an art exhibit and say, okay, you've achieved your Pan-African goal. No, that's an outcome. It's not the process. What we're talking about now is process. For the diaspora, Pan-Africanism has inherently been a political culture of those who professed it. Sterling Stuckey, who I cited earlier, demonstrates this fact in his penetrating discussion of Denmark Vesey to Paul Robeson and beyond. Yet even while saying this, we must remember that human beings are a wonderfully diverse lot, and among us are those who are better cultural or better political Pan-Africanists, and their own contributions must be equally respected. For people of African descent in the New World Order, dogmatism is the root of all evil. As Global Pan-Africa has demonstrated, Pan-Africanism is more than a nostalgic return to one's racial roots. During the formative years of its development, Africans busied themselves with the work of creating meaningful societies at home and abroad. Today, that work also involves a solid investment in skills, ideas, finance, globally. So whatever you are doing here, young people, that contributes to making this change substantively in one way or another. And the continent, too, can reciprocate by offering and providing her diaspora with access to and support from its national stage. Let me land, as they say, with a quote from 1960, former Speaker of the Nigerian House of Assembly, Honorable Jaja Wachukwu. Quote, "The interests of 20 million American Negroes are intertwined with those of 200 million kith and kin in Africa. The American Negro should appreciate that as long as our continent exists and thrives, as long as there are African states respected in the world community of nations, they themselves will have a full growth, which is what they require. Their full contribution will be appreciated. Their role as human beings will be greater, and that is what we want. African unity and Pan-Africanism. Your African is an African, no matter where he or she is found." Thank you.
This mid-20th century is Africa's. This decade is the decade of African independence. Forward then to independence now. Tomorrow, the United States of Africa.